Selling and buying, and today we're going to focus on pricing correctly your home.
Well, we want to make sure. Here's the funniest part of selling a home. You might actually be looking to buy a home, and we might be spending more focus at the beginning on finding the home that you want. And it might be new construction, which could take 6 months to actually build, 7 months, even a year. But we still have to have a market analysis in place when we're selling your home as well, in order to say we're doing that. And if you need to go faster, we can go faster too. We can find homes in 30 days and close at the same time. But if you have the time and you're like, hey, I want to get into something this over in this area, we're going to do a market analysis for you. We're going to price your home, and it might actually not be for 6-12 months. So we have to understand that pricing is going to make sure that your home sells at the price, it sells quickly, selling for how much, and the right price is going to, it's an art and a science. We're going to do a market analysis for you, and we're going to break down what is in this market analysis, what are the components, so you get maximum return on your value in your home that you already own.
Exactly. Therefore, as my wife said, we really need to understand the basic of the marketing analysis, which is really referred to evaluation of your real estate market to determine the optimal price at which you can list your home for sale. But as my wife said, there are components that involve in the process. What are those components?
As we said, we're going to run a CMA, which is a comparison of similar properties recently sold, typically in the last 30, 60, 90 days in that market. What sold, what didn't sell as well. We have to analyze those. What's another thing on that list?
The other thing that is very important is supply and demand dynamics. And considering how many homes really are in the market, how many home buyers are in the market is also super important, because if there's a buyer's market, then we need to make sure that we don't overprice it. And if it's seller's market, therefore, again, pricing it correctly is going to give you the maximum return on your investment.
And why we do market videos every single month on giving you the update of what's going on in our market, because there are patterns. We have to look at the economic conditions. We have to look at the local market and local development, because all of that is going to increase or decrease our home values. So before we get into conducting a CMA, let's do our introduction. Let's hit it. Hi, it's Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast and YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and get notified.
Also, you call text all the time, 252-327-3357. We love talking to you. Don't be shy. Also, grab our buyer's guide and seller's guide in the description below. Now, really, let's break into that CMA in detail.
Exactly. Therefore, what is CMA? CMA that all real estate agents, they do, they actually say...
Well, good ones will actually do all the time.
is really comparative market analysis, which we call it CMA. And now what we need to do really is first gathering comparable sales data before we price your home, and look for homes that have sold at least the last 3 to 6 months in that time period. What else?
We're also going to narrow it down even further. We're going to look for homes that are similar sizes, because you cannot compare a 1,000-foot home to a 3,000-foot home, even if they're in the same community, because the people who are going to buy those are fundamentally different. Also, location, age, condition of the home, all of these things really matter. And then also, you're going to be adjusting your prices based on different values, such as upgrades in the home, downgrades in the home, or that basic square footage, because at the end of the day, people need the space that they need.
Exactly. Therefore, after these three components to CMA or comparative market analysis, we're going to focus on assessing current market listing, which is really, as my wife said, why we're doing the always real estate market update, because we wanted to show you the study of the homes that currently for sale to understand also the competition that is in the market based on those inventory supply and what they listed for and what they sold for.
Right, and you have to notice what the prices, that's basically what they're selling for. Last thing we're going to study in the CMA is the homes that didn't sell, the expired listings, the withdrawn listings. Why didn't they sell? Why were these not appealing at the price points that they didn't sell? Because this information is going to tell us a lot, and we don't want to overprice your home and then have your home sit there like this, especially if you want to buy another home. So we want to be able to study what didn't sell, because that's going to give us a lot of information too.
Exactly. Therefore, after this, we need also to looking at supply and demand dynamics. Therefore, how we should really identify the inventory level, because high inventory may suggest, as my wife said, a buyer's market. If you have more than 6 months of supply, that is one of the indicators that we are dealing with the buyer's market. And that means that we need to be very careful about more competitive pricing for your home.
The opposite is true with that. The next thing we want to talk about is days on market. Days on market, if it's shorter, it's going to be a stronger seller's market. The longer, it means the demand is a little softer, which means we have to take that into account, especially if your intent is to sell at a certain point. So we need to have all of these things in mind. And then we also have to acknowledge buyers' behavior. Want to explain that?
Meaning that we need to recognize how quickly buyers are making offers on the homes in your area, wherever you're living in the United States or Canada, how quickly they make the offer.
And we can help you no matter where you are. We love to talk to you
Exactly.
about that. Now, the next thing is interpreting local market trends.
Exactly.
We want to understand, and really we want to go into a lot of economic data on this one. What are the employment rates? What are the employers? What are the interest rates? What are the economic forecasts that are all happening that can affect our local market? Because if we know that there's new businesses coming in, 1,000 new jobs are going to be offered right where this house is, it's going to be a boon for whoever selling that home at that time.
Exactly. And the other things that also comes from the real estate market update, understanding seasonal patterns. No, as we know, home often comes for the sale mostly in the spring, like mid-April toward May and June, and summer, and that is where the demand is the highest because people moving for job, or the kids are finishing their school, they wanted to move to a new place or stay with the family, whatever they do. And at the opposite side, winters are less competition exists.
Now, on the other side of this doesn't mean that you can't sell your home in the winter. You absolutely can sell your home in the winter. You sell when it's time for you, because sometimes there's also less homes for sale, and there's less people, but there's enough people buying. So I mean, there's always someone who needs to buy a home at a certain time. So you want to have to take those into account. But we also have to account for local development. Like my husband and I were talking about recent developments in our own area. We know that they're building 500 new townhomes, and they're not building so many single family homes in the next year in our area. So how is that going to affect our market? Our home value is going to increase. What is beneficial of this area? What is going on? We have to look at things.
Exactly. The next thing that we need to consider is really home-specific factors. That this is the rarity, uniqueness of your home. How unique is your home in that local market? Or is custom built or in a specific area? It has some features that makes it actually distinguish between other homes. Those also is one of the important facts.
The other thing is condition of your home. And a home in excellent condition is always going to sell and be priced higher than a home that needs work, because people can walk into a turnkey, they're going to love it.
Exactly. As my wife always said, 3 seconds takes any home buyers to love your homes or not like your homes.
And the other thing to talk about is upgrades in the home. Quality upgrades are going to add value, but they have to align with the expectations of the market. So if you build a mansion in an area where everybody else's home is a $100,000 tract home, your home value it's a little too unique for that specific area where you built that. So you have to see what is adding value. Maybe that barbecue amazing thing in the backyard that you built is going to add value, because people want that kind of situation depending on the home. So you can always do whatever you want, but just think about what it'll be worth it in the future.
And again, if you wanted to finalizing really a strategy, what is important is balancing objectively with your emotion, meaning that we need to set a price based on all these factors that we listed for and explained it for. At the end, we need to detach our emotion from the price and really trust on the process and the data, the statistics.
The other part with that, of course, with the data, is that we have to focus on that new home that you're buying. So if we're focusing on moving yourself, that's going to help us detach a little bit from the house that we're talking about. Yes, of course, we want highest value for you. You want the highest value. We want the highest value. But you also have to remember, negotiations can happen. You have to leave room for negotiation. You can't purchase so high that buyers aren't going to come see your home either, because that's going to put you out of the market.
Exactly. And remember, all the home buyers, if they bring with the real estate agent, they're going to run also comps or comparative market analysis on your home. And if you price it high, we need to make sure that we adjust the price and the strategy based on the feedbacks.
Basically, let's talk about the summary. You want to buy a new home. We're happy to help you with this new home. But we want to make sure with the home that you currently have that you're getting the right price. So that is what our CMA is coming for. We're also going to look at supply and demand. We're going to be informed, and we're going to consider the uniqueness, and we're going to have a room for negotiation because we want to stay competitive. And yes, we might reevaluate this 30 days before the home goes actually on sale if you intended to sell it a year ago. So everything is timing, and that is the key with this.
Exactly. Therefore, trusting the process, and as we said, data-driven approach that we're going to offer you as a real estate agent professional, Alan Victoria Pinder. We are on the way to price your home effectively for the best possible return and get the house that you love in the new place.
So don't forget to watch this video as well.